there's two things that have made college significantly less valuable. So thing number one is that the education that you get at college is for sure inferior now to free alternatives. Like
Oh, he said is college necessary, by the way.
that was like maybe arguable and is now definitive. Like an AI tutor that can teach you whatever you want in real time is more valuable. On the other side, from a cost basis, it for sure doesn't fucking make any sense because you can get a better thing for less. So like now there's that part. And so then the only thing that people make the argument for college is that it forces networking for people who are who start with lower socioeconomic status to network with people with higher socioeconomic status. That is maybe the only thing. But I mean, like, there's platforms like School and whatnot that can bring communities together. But the last piece is like, okay, well, do you have higher earning power? Which is literally just not true anymore. Like, you don't have higher earning power as a result of being a college graduate. And so the value proposition is you don't get more educated, you don't get better job prospects. It costs money and takes longer. And I think that has just gotten more and more extreme in the past 4 years. And I think that will accelerate. Like, if you're 18 years old right now, there's very little point in saying I want to become a doctor. Like, by the time that you graduate 8 years from now, and then you're finished your residency 10 years from now, whatever it is, like, there will be surgical robots and diagnostic robots right now that they'll literally beat humans at everything. And we can say whatever we want. When it comes to health, I think people are going to be like, I would choose human, but I'm going to choose the thing that gets me to die less. There's two things that have made college significantly less valuable.
Okay. So some of this was probably clickbait. Because I'm just gonna crush it right here. How would you say we're gonna have robots in 10 years when we don't even want EV vehicles in 10 years? Like, we should have been have EV cars or literally EV cars. We still prefer gas over like the healthy things that are good for the environment. But let's down topic. He sounds like a complete, because he went to college. That's the first thing I text Alex, y'all. I said, like, I don't have like a group chat or community who could all just be roasting this. So it's kind of like I just texted to Alex, and then Alex is like, what she said? What she said? Let me see. I quote. Let me quote her real quick. I've been texting a lot lately. She said he looks like a barbarian for starters, and who is he? He's a disgrace for having the same name as me, and using AI as a tutor is crazy work. Yeah, barbarian is crazy though. And so running that, I agree with what he said that networking from a lower socioeconomic status to higher socioeconomic status is that was a good answer. That was probably like one of the, I guess he was being serious in that moment, but then he immediately went back to saying off the wall, like, I just want y'all to click this and give me some views because I really don't care. But he went to college. I think Alex Hormozi went to Purdue University or Vanderbilt. He went to a very good college. And you know what I love about LinkedIn? He has a LinkedIn. So, right quick. I can look him up and then show you, because and I got something that's actually, dang, he was just popping up. There you go. And I got something else that kind of trumps what he says, like it knocks it down immediately, like what we're going to follow up and talk about right after that. Because downplaying college only works in his favor. He's a business owner, so you have to remember that when you hear a business person say college is not worth it, you have to understand that they're coming from a place of like, I can teach you everything, you can come through me. But it's like at the end of the day, when you want to pivot and go somewhere else that kind of requires traditional training or traditional education, you can't pivot. So you're forced to stay doing that one thing, right? And then that's kind of like what Google does and all these other big corporations. Like, you don't need to go to school. You can learn everything through us. We pay for it, right? nothing is free in life. Keep that in mind. Nothing is ever free. So that's why I always say try to like keep that in mind when you, and he might not even hire you. That's another thing. So I got his LinkedIn pulled up. And so as you see, he went to Vanderbilt University. And if you've been rocking with us, you know that Vanderbilt University is a prestigious university. It's prestigious. It's not some, forgive me, it's not a Valdosta State University or Georgia State. And it's a highly, like Georgia State is actually really good for research, actually. I'm gonna take that out. But Vanderbilt is a highly research institution. And if you go there to Vanderbilt, you're gonna have access to a lot of connections like he probably has. And that's the stuff we always have to talk about, is that he can't tell you not to go to college and it's not worth it, and he went. It's like me saying, guys, college is not worth it, you don't need to go, and you're like, but you went and got your master's, bachelor's, associates, and you're successful. Shouldn't I go to college? And you be like, So it's kind of like, yes, you should go to college, guys. Highly, 100% you should go to college. I think everybody should get some type of degree. If you get an associate's degree and stop, I really think that's enough. If you feel like, I think it's enough only if you can expand on it and take, like, go and do something that just don't require it. Like I tell people, if you're going into the music industry, for example, you don't need a degree unless you want one. But you know, like people like J. Cole, he the only person I can think of off the top of my head that's in the music industry that has a bachelor's degree, which is a fun fact. And so, yeah, this guy is really popular though. But when you hear people like him, because he gets a lot of views, and he don't even know about college. He don't have no higher education background, respectable business person. But when you don't know nothing about education, you sound like he can't get into the education community. He probably don't care to get into the education community. And that's okay, because, you know, people of this nature probably think money is everything. And that as long as I have the money and the business acumen, I can get into the rooms, and money is power, business is power, and all that other crap they come up with. I'm not really into all that. But what I am interested in is that you're kind of giving misinformation. It's like me speaking on, like, get it, speaking, see what I did there? It's like me speaking on business things, honestly. I don't consider myself to be a business person. It's like me speaking on financial things. I don't consider myself to be financially savvy. If you ever hear me talk about anything financial, like investments, I always say do the S&P index. And like, if you want to go to a financial channel, please go find them. There are plenty of financial channels out there. Like, people should stay in their lane, but this is what happens when you get, I guess, into the YouTube realm too much, or social media too much. You think you know everything, and that's a bad variable to have in life. Ooh, a bad variable to have in life. Get it? Because it moves in life, and you're moving around too much into a bad area. I like that. That was a good bar right there.
There's no need.
Well, we
There's
already know
two things that have made college significantly less valuable. So thing number one is that the education that you get at college is for sure inferior now.
And that's what he said too. I wanted to put, I knew it was in the beginning. And before we leave off of this, he said that, like, when you go to college and you do your medical, so if you're in medical school, please keep going. If you want to go to medical school, please go. If you want to do like any high level, like med school, PhD school, law school, PT school, like physical therapy, anything that requires a type of school like that, and it's probably gonna be like $100,000 or more, it's worth it in the long run. Now, where people are falling trapped to this is where I come in for speaking on behalf. You have to understand that most of these things that you're trying to go to the, like, you're thinking about, for example, my law school friend, my boy is gonna get me, my boy Curtis is gonna get me. But I got to use his. His is like the most simplest one, for one that is not medical and related and all that. I would have to bring somebody who's medical related that can tell me like how the residency and all that goes. But it's still similar. But with law school, for example, if you are trying to go to law school, I always say that you probably want to get an associate's degree first. Not because you're not intelligent enough to go to school and do it, But if you're in a certain situation where like, cause I learned more since we've been on this channel. Unless you get into like a big Ivy school or schools that have the money, like we talked about on Financial Aid Friday with Sam. Like if schools have the money, like the endowments or extra pile of money just laying around for you, they can offer you more money to go to school, but it's only at that institution. That's what we learned, that when you complete your financial aid package, like this is not tied in with Pell. Pell is like federal. And then when you go to a bigger school, for example, like we always got to say like Yale or Harvard, because we know they have a ton of money. And we know they have their money working for them in the market. Literally, they invest their endowment money into investment so that it can capitalize and potentially go back to you when you apply to the school. And so
We done. Oh. Debt-free degree. They say I bring debt, but we ain't.